thing is so quiet even at highway speed.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. In the Century, going down to pick up a couple friends from Ireland that we haven't seen since the trip. So I gave them a little tour of all my cars yesterday, and they made a little video about it. So I'm sure that I will leave a link in the description to their channel to go check out the video when it drops. Well, let's go pick them up.
Where are we? Oh, we're back. We're back on the road. Hey!
Is that Ebisu? What is that? That looks like a track.
It does. Big, nice right hander here.
Watch out.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes a whole lot of sense.
So Mike's, Mike Satnav thinks it's in Japan on basically a
It's
toge.
picking random roads to decide it's
we're on the straightest road probably in the world.
We're on a straight road, but it thinks we're on
Look
a
at this
massive corner.
right-hander. Oh man.
No, we're going straight off the
Yeah,
cliff.
we're
We're through a river.
We're going through a forest and a river.
I haven't driven this car since I made the video, to be completely honest with you guys, just because, well, like I said, the hurricane happened right after that, and then we dealt with weeks of high water. But since then, she's just been chilling, staying safe, and now I get to enjoy it. This was the perfect vehicle to do this. All the pre-order hoodies, interactive stickers, finally going out. If you guys haven't gotten a interactive sticker, link in the description. They're pretty cool. The other quick thing that I wanted to mention is that I never do sales on my website. I rarely ever do sales on my website. But Black Friday and Black Friday weekend, I'm going to be doing a massive store-wide sale on my website. 40% off anything you want on the site. I'll put the dates on the screen and everything so you guys can kind of get prepared for that. I know there's a lot of people overseas and out of the country that always want to get something, but shipping is expensive. So this is an awesome opportunity to be able to scoop something for cheap. Like I said, Black Friday and Black Friday weekend, 40% off anything you want on the site. But I figured I'd mention that now so you guys can get ready for it. But it's a Supra weekend. I got some more things that I want to get done on this car. I got a bunch of new stuff that showed up since I last filmed, and I got a bunch of little odds and ends that are kind of half completed that I just want to knock out. So I'm gonna knock out those loose ends first, and then I can start diving into some of the new stuff that I got. Quick little update. The last time that I left off was trying to get all of the cooling stuff kind of routed and figured out. Ended up getting the wrong coolant pipe, so I got the right one from Powerhouse. If I can find an OEM one in the future, I'll run that, but I couldn't. So for now, I'm running the Powerhouse one. Have all the cooling stuff figured out over here, the water necks and all those things are on and tight, gasketed. Have both brand new coolant sensors plugged in, and just need a couple hose clamps for the bottom hose. Cooling system, pretty much almost there. Just need to figure out the shroud now, and if my NA one will fit, or if I need to get a turbo one and modify it. But either way, I'm gonna start working on the power steering stuff now. I have the relocation reservoir, the turbo reservoir, that's probably gonna get mounted to like the back side of the strut tower over here or something, and then route it to where the pump goes. So I'm gonna take all that apart, get all that situated, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, for the NA cars, the reservoir is actually mounted straight to the pump, but for the turbo cars, it's mounted separately. So there is a OEM piece here that mounts basically right to here and then relocates the reservoir away from the pulley so that it clears the different style manifold. I'm gonna find the correct O-ring for this, get this installed, and then we can put all of these things where they need to go. All right, it's towards the end of the day and I did not update at all, simply just because I'm at the stage where everything is just trial and error and like little things here and there trying to make things work, and it's not the most entertaining thing. But I did make quite a bit of progress today so far. Radiator setup is pretty much all set. Power steering, pulley, pump, all of that stuff is installed with the relocation bracket. Had to modify this a little bit to get it to fit in the stock turbo location. I shortened the little bung that's on here because the Plasma Man kind of makes it a little difficult to route everything. I thought about putting this somewhere else, but then it would be even more annoying because then I'm snaking lines under everything. And instead of doing that, I chopped the bung a little lower here, and then I actually found a little piece of hose that snakes from here perfectly, and it'll go down and under the intercooler piping once that's all set there. So tomorrow I gotta get some bolts for the drive-by-wire throttle body, get the correct hose to kind of finish this off, and then I gotta modify this hard line down here for the power steering to go up to this bung. And then the power steering is all set. Like I said, today's just been a trial and error day, just seeing what fits, seeing what works. I'm starting to think the shroud that I have is not going to work, so I might be switching to an electric fan setup. Haven't made up my mind yet on that, but I'm talking with Earl from Wiring Specialties, and we are going to be getting a harness made for this car very, very soon, as well as talking to the homie Jimmy, and we're going to be running Link Fury on this car. Very stoked about that. But this thing is getting there. I keep reminding myself that I have so much more to do, but now that I see all the stuff coming together, I really don't have a lot left. It's just, like I said, just routing hoses in weird ways and getting everything to work with the aftermarket parts. But I'm very close. All that's left after I get the power steering stuff sorted is fuel, getting all of the fuel stuff situated, and then obviously all the lines for the turbo setup, all the cooling and oil lines, get a couple more hoses for a couple more lines, some spark plugs, and then we're good to start, I think, the manual swap, because that's the whole other part of this project, which maybe I'll touch on that a little bit in this video. I'm not sure. All right, next day, went to the hardware store this morning, got some more hardware, as well as some power steering lines that had some like pre-bent angles in them to try and figure out the power steering reservoir. I think I got it all figured out. Basically comes from here, little barb fitting in there, goes under the intercooler piping that'll be coming out of the throttle body, and then straight up to the reservoir there. So we're good there. Still have to cut the hard line and route that up to the other fitting as well, but that'll be easy. Before I run out and get more hose clamps and things for that, I'm gonna start on the fueling stuff. Try and get the fuel rail on, the regulator, all that stuff. And over here we have a beautiful billet Plasma Man fuel rail. Very, very happy with this. So get that installed, and also have a bunch of Deechworks goodies for the car too. In this box here, we have some Deechworks 727s. These should be plenty for what I'm trying to run, along with all the wiring and everything. So gonna get these taken out, pop them on the fuel rail, get the fuel rail on, regulator, we'll be that much closer. It's the end of the day. It's also multiple days in the future. Got a haircut, all that stuff. But today we are actually going to be bringing the Supra over to the big shop, and I got a transmission. Bought a transmission for this car. I had a bunch of options, and I ended up going the correct route, even though it was extremely expensive. So we're going to take this car over to the big building, get the transmission, probably clean it up a little bit, talk about it, get it into the car, mainly for measuring reasons and things like that. But I'm stoked. It's another big check off the list for this car, all set. And yeah, let's get this thing over there. Hooked up to the golf cart. Marco's gonna come back, help bring me this thing over there. Man, I miss driving this thing. I miss this car so much. It's such a good example of fucking Supra, man. I'm so stoked to have this thing back. It's like dark out, and this camera is just like, nah, I don't care. 40,000 ISO, crazy. This is what it actually is out right now. I feel like I did this recently. I keep dogging myself for how long it's taking for this car to be built, but in all honesty, like, it's getting there. Last time I did this was 3 months ago, I think, with Randy getting the engine bay sprayed. So I mean, we're making good progress. Engine's back in, about to get the trains in there. Feels good. cool seeing this thing in some like really good lighting. Man, I need to remember to get all my fingerprints off of everything. This definitely gets me stoked. All right, transmission time. Obviously, with this being an old 90s Toyota, you have a bunch of options of transmissions that you could run with this thing. R154, CD009, ZF, T56, or the unfortunately really expensive and infamous V160. Now, the V160 would come factory in this car, and at first I was going to lean towards the Granus Racing T56 Magnum kit because you can get the entire kit for around the same price as a V160. And that's drive shaft, clutches, brackets, shifters, all that stuff. But the JDM boy in me and the kind of OEM plus in me chose the V160. So right here we have my new, to me, V160 for the Supra. And if you guys actually can recognize this thing, this was actually Adam's. Adam ran this V160 in his white chaser probably 2 years ago. And we pulled it out just because he wasn't a fan of the gearing. But I think it's really just a couple bad detent springs in here because the shifter doesn't really, like, it falls back into place, but it's not the snappiest thing. So I think that's probably the main reason. But regardless, he had this transmission sitting around for 2 years, not doing anything with it, and gave it to me for a pretty good deal. So I'm stoked that I get to put the factory trans in the car. Not only will it make the car feel correct, but it just kind of adds value to Supras because it's what's supposed to be in here. Now right now I don't have a clutch setup for this thing just yet, but we're gonna be doing some stuff to this car over the weekend that kind of requires the trans to be in the car. So we're going to get this thing in the car as a placeholder. We'll probably pop the shifter off, make the cutting adjustments and everything inside the car for the manual swap, obviously, and then do what we have to do. And in the future, we'll pull the trans out and actually manual swap the car. There's a couple things that I want to do to this thing while it's in here, and that is figure out the whole fan situation. I didn't take into account that the engine is actually leaning forwards quite a bit, which is why we need to put the trans in the car, because it's gonna make the engine sit back where it's supposed to be. And that gives me the clearance that I need for the clutch fan setup. Would rather run the clutch fan, less issues to run into in the future. Always works great. So I'm gonna get those things and make some adjustments to it. Then I'll get that stuff mounted in the car. So again, the reason why I wanna run clutch fans, simple, easy, they always work. And the turbo shrouds for turbo Supras have a second fan here, which I obviously don't have. And if I get a turbo shroud, then I have to get the whole fan set up, and either that or I have to block it off. So instead of doing that, I taped this little line here, and I'm going to trim this back just so that it fits that much nicer. It already fits this way, but by doing this, I know it's not gonna rub the hoses. I know it's not gonna get in the way of other stuff. So I'm gonna give it a little trimming, and then it should fit just fine. Operation Get the Trans in the Supra is underway. So since I don't have the revision cut out in the center console area of the car for the manual swap, I'm just going to be taking this linkage stuff off of here and the shifter setup. That way this can just kind of go in easily. And since this whole thing is going to be coming back out once we actually do the manual swap, we'll make that revision then. But over the weekend we're going to be doing the intercooler setup, all of the intercooler piping on the car, so I'm very excited about that. So that's why I want to get the trans in here. It'll make everything fit the right way in the engine bay. It'll get the engine to where it's supposed to be, and life will be good. So our boy Marco over here picked himself up a new little toy. I figured that I'd show him.
Not so new, Mike.
Huh?
Not so new.
It's new to you.
New to me.
New to you.
Not to the earth.
Look at this unit.
The hog.
Hog man.
Fucking Haagen-Dazs over here, dude.
So, what is it? I'm extremely bad with bikes.
Me too. It's a 1999 Harley Sportster 883. I got it kind of impulsively because I wanted a bike and I wanted to tinker with stuff. And one thing I noted is that Mr. Michael has a way of buying really nice things and then they kind of like stay nice because he doesn't drift. So I would like to
always say I don't want to drift.
we keep asking him. So I figured I would like to join that. Mike doesn't seem that stressed out unless I'm causing the stress. So yeah, so this is like my attempt at making like a show car, but not really a show car. It's just like something to tinker with that's way cheaper than cars and it's really enjoyable. It's cool with Harleys because you can like ball the fuck out on whatever and it'll be like $150, $200 part and it's like nice name brand stuff.
Like building this thing compared to building a car,
Yeah.
it just seems so like not stress free, but just more free. Just you can
Way more free.
You can just do whatever you want.
Got the bike not running, kind of unknown condition, a little sketchy, like $1,200. Kind of rolled the dice. Thankfully the motor was okay, but like everything around it's pretty crusty. So spent probably another $1,000 and it's kind of where it's at now, plus some more boxes on the right. So hopefully I can, within another couple $100 or so, have like a really nice clean painted bike that's fun to cruise around on. And when I get really mad at drift cars, I can go ride it. So.
Or you could take it with you to the drift event and stunt on everyone in the pits. Mind fucking
Big
blown.
brain.
Well, this thing is sick. It's been cool watching him tinker on it, and he's been tinkering on it in the house garage, so been hanging out there a little bit too. But yeah, this thing. So you just replaced the tank and the fender.
Tank, fender, bars, take all like the unnecessary stuff off.
Yeah.
Clean up what I can, try to polish the cool old stuff, and get rid of the stuff that you don't need.
The polishing stuff is so fun.
Yeah, can't
Because
wait.
that's a real transformation.
Like all this stuff, dude, like the cam cover and all that, like cleaning all this up would be really satisfying, and the valve covers and all that would be really cool. Yeah, and then doing a chain delete, or sorry, a belt delete, putting a chain on it.
Bluetooth.
Yeah, SEMA build. I don't know, we'll see. I'm excited.
Yeah. Well, I'll keep you guys updated in the videos to Marco's bike build, because this thing is sick.
Catch me at Daytona, baby.
But trans is in, V160's in. Really no headaches going in at all. A lot of people, I mean, the correct way to do it would be to cut out your transmission tunnel and buy the turbo transmission tunnel, and that requires taking out your entire interior, your dashboard, so I'm told, and cutting the entire thing out, but I'm not gonna do that. Transmission fits perfectly fine in here, and the actual shifter location is not far away at all from the automatic transmission hole. So this thing is literally a copy and paste of my old Soarer, literally like identical. It's crazy. And I know exactly what we did for the manual swap on that car, so I can literally just replicate that and we'll be perfectly fine. The transmission mount that I used is just from my automatic trans, so it doesn't really work. I will be finding the obvious correct one and doing all of that, but trans is in. Now the engine will sit level in the engine bay for when we do all of the necessary other stuff that we're going to be doing this weekend. So it's late, I'm tired. Just realized that was completely blown out, but here, this gives you a little bit of a better idea of how things are actually going to sit in the engine bay. Hose, plenty of clearance, NA shroud, plenty of clearance. All of that stuff is in. Refresh the fan. Fan might need a little bit of modification again. It was fine before, but not anymore. Anyway, that's okay. I'll make that work. Trial and error. All trial and error. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.